It started as a whisper, a joke made at your expense, a tone change in the room, a stare long enough to cause a smile that reveals something deeper underneath. And many people, they ignore it. They brush it off. They convince themselves it's not worth reacting to, until it happens again. Louder and more public. And by the moment they feel the need to react, it's too late. Because disrespect ignored is disrespect approved. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone else. In a society that values influence, status, and dominance, he knew that respect is not something you earn. It's something you command. And if someone disrespects you, your next action determines everything, not only what they think of you, but also what anyone watching learns about how to treat you from that moment on. Because disrespect is hardly personal at first. It is a test, and if you fail, you are not only tagged as weak, you are considered safe to disrespect again. Therefore, if someone disrespects you, do this, not later but immediately. You stay silent, but not passive. Because here is the first Machiavellian law for handling disrespect: someone who reacts emotionally loses power. But one who withdraws deliberately becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability triggers fear. Silence does not mean dismissing it. It means withdrawing energy. You don't laugh it off. You don't pretend to have missed it. You don't express how it made you feel. You make them feel your absence, in your look, in your voice, and in your refusal to maintain the energy flowing. It's an aggressive pause in the pattern they were trying to create. A sudden black hole in the conversation they planned to dominate. Because disrespect only flourishes when it receives feedback, laughter, self-defense, or appeasement. But when it is greeted with cold calmness, it manifests itself for what it is: a cheap, desperate grab at dominance. Machiavelli never attacked first. He watched. He allowed his enemies to expose themselves completely and confidently before ever reacting. And when he did, it was not with an apology. It was with accuracy. That is your next action: reflect back the violation. Not through disrespect, not through retaliation, but through questions. Because if someone disrespects you, they are expecting an emotional reaction. They want to ignite your insecurity. What they don't expect is exposure. So you keep eye contact. You bend your head a little. And you say, with precise calmness, "Did you mean to say it that way?" Or, "Are you sure you want to say that again?" Or, "That sounded personal. Do you want to explain before I respond?" Each phrase represents a controlled incision. You are not denying the attack. You are urging them to make it again, on record, to make their hostility public. Others won't. Because many people who disrespect you are not daring. They are opportunistic. They explore boundaries to find out who will check them. And if you react to their actions with calm tension and cold clarity, they start to question their position. And that uncertainty is what you want, not retaliation, not drama. Because someone who creates doubt in others, who makes people hesitate, and who explains themselves around them doesn't need to demand respect. They emit it. But here is where the game becomes more complicated. Many people can handle one moment, one confrontation. What they cannot handle is consistency. If someone disrespects you once and you handle it, fantastic. But if they feel that the door is still cracked, if your energy becomes soft again thereafter, they will try it again. So the third stage is this: rethink the relationship instantly. You don't go back to normal. You don't pretend nothing happened. You set the boundary on how you talk, how you show up, and how unavailable you suddenly become. Machiavelli understood that public punishment, when justified and done effectively, not just stops a threat, it educates the room. Therefore, if the disrespect happens in the presence of other people, let your new stance sound louder than any counterattack could. Withdraw your warmth. Enhance your language. Reject their invitations. You don't have to announce your move. Let them sense it. This is what differentiates the respected from the overlooked. It is not dominance through intimidation. It is presence through principle. You have shown the room, I am no longer available for that, and I will not explain myself to make you happy about it. And now the social current operates differently. Other people take note. They get cautious. Your name becomes one they speak with more deliberation, less ease. Because someone who cannot be disrespected is not the loudest. It is the person who knows exactly what to do the instant it happens, not with shouting, but with controlled calmness, piercing clarity, and complete refusal to make comfort more essential than self-respect. That is how you terminate it before it starts. Not with rage, not with pride, but with precisely what they didn't expect: discipline, distance, and complete dominance of the room. Disrespect is never isolated. It's a signal, an estimated flick to determine how far they can reach before you push back. And once you tolerate one violation, like a single disrespect disguised as humor, one hidden dismissal, or one fake compliment filled with venom, you've shown every person in the room what your silence is worth. And Machiavelli would tell you, the moment people consider you as easy to interfere with, getting back control needs double the effort. So, in the aftermath of the first encounter, after you have become still, call the situation without emotion, and distance yourself, what comes next is just as important. Because others will test boundaries again, not in the exact same way, but in more subtle, more dangerous ways. They will see whether you sincerely meant it. They will joke again, only with a smile this time around. They will eliminate you from a decision and call it an oversight. They will make a passive statement and watch your facial expressions for even a glimmer of hesitation. That is when you make your second move, strengthen the framing with excessive consequence. Machiavelli's principle wasn't founded on fairness. It was founded on effectiveness. And he understood what a few individuals today are willing to accept: if the punishment is equal to the crime, it's forgettable. But if it's greater, it becomes unforgettable. You are not responding emotionally. You are sending a message: you don't get to mess with me twice. So when they cross the boundary again, you become colder, not louder. If they made the mistake in public, you respond to the message openly but wisely, not through rudeness. Through surgical rejections. They make a comment. You respond by pausing, looking them straight in the eye, and then talking to the rest of the group instead. They ask you a question. You respond with a one-word response, then divert your attention. They want to reclaim your comfort. You offer them the social version of a closed door, polite and distant. It is not aggression, it is removal. You are not aiming to defeat them. You are showing something more chilling: they have lost accessibility. That is what pains people the most, not being disrespected, but being ignored by a person who used to pay attention to them. And here is where many individuals fail. They want to be loved. They want to smooth matters. They want to assume that being a bigger person could earn them recognition. But Machiavelli would laugh at that, since respect is not earned through forgiving. It is earned through a calculated outcome, delivered with calmness, not rage. And here is when your real leverage starts. People are watching every minute. They saw the time of disrespect. They saw the way you responded. And now they are waiting to find out if you will revert or if you meant what you projected. This is your opportunity to change your image. Because image, according to Machiavelli, is more effective than reality. And your image after a conflict turns into your armor or your exposure. You want your silence to be perceived as, he will not tolerate that, or, she won't engage if disrespected, or, you only get a single opportunity with them. When your name starts carrying those connections, everything shifts. People talk more carefully. They stop fooling around in your direction. They introduce you to other people using phrases like, no nonsense, and sharp, and that is your new weapon. You did not ask for it. You created it, one surgical response at a time. But there is one more layer, something deeper and more complicated. Because some individuals will not be stopped by public disgrace. They are not concerned about validation. They want your reaction. They flourish on irritating other people, on being the disruptor, and on testing boundaries for sport. And when such individuals meet someone like you, they either escalate or retreat completely. If they escalate, that is your indication for the third level of response. Utilize their disrespect against them. You don't escalate emotionally. You escalate socially. If there's someone with power, status, or a role, begin framing them with surgical accuracy. Use their behaviors against them, loudly or softly, yet always with control. For example, you may say, "That is a funny joke." Do you use that one within the workplace too? Or, if you speak to your friends like that, "I'd hate to hear how you speak to strangers." Or, "I'm shocked you said that out loud." You're not arguing. You are having them wear their own words in front of everyone. And that is when their self-assurance begins to diminish, not because you overcame them, but because you made the room recall what they truly are: little, loud, and insecure. This is the strength of Machiavellian retaliation. It is never loud. It is never rushed. It's calculated, targeted, and performed with such calm perfection that the other people don't even understand how badly they have just been humiliated. And the greatest part? You are still calm. You are still poised. You have let the disrespect hang in the air and then crushed it into something they now own. That's how you gain power in silence, not simply by refusing to react, but by making every rude behavior a step toward their own exposure. And in doing that, you never chase respect again. Because at this point they all know, you don't argue. You don't explain. You do not tolerate it. You stop it silently, surgically, and permanently. What many individuals do not understand is this: disrespect doesn't flourish on boldness. It flourishes on safety. Not your safety, but theirs. They disrespect you when they know you will not react. They mock you when they know there will be nothing to worry about. They push because they are convinced you have never pushed back before. That is the ignition of most disrespect, the notion that you can't do anything. But Machiavelli understood something different. He realized that power is not about striking often. It's about creating the concept that you could, that at any point you can react in a way they didn't expect and will not be able to control.